Hello my friends, and welcome to another episode of WWE2K, the universe nobody asked for, where the road to WrestleMania is less a road and more a flaming slip and slide covered in protein powder and bad decisions. Because Raw this week? Oh my word. Roman Reigns is fighting Brock Lesnar, which is already ridiculous. But the real story is Roman and The Rock having a stare down so intense it could power a small city. And then Shawn Michaels is just there, wandering around like he spawned in the wrong cutscene. Bianca Belair's got a mystery partner. Kairi Sane is wrestling on behalf of Asuka. And if you watch the Royal Rumble, you already know someone's about to ruin someone else's entire evening. Then we've got a fatal four-way featuring John Cena, Gunther, Seth Rollins and CM Punk. Four men who absolutely should not be in the same room together after Rollins tried to assassinate Punk last week for reasons known only to Seth Rollins. Ric Flair and Braun Strowman are teaming up to fight Kurt Angle and LA Knight, which feels like somebody shook a toy box and said, yeah, that'll do. And Stone Cold Steve Austin, he's here to talk about The Fiend, the Royal Rumble winner, the supernatural nightmare, the guy who attacked him last week. And now they're heading straight for a WrestleMania collision that's going to melt my brain. So take your arms, make them go like this, because Raw has gone absolutely bonkers and we're diving straight into the madness. Right, let's talk about Shawn Michaels, because what on earth was that man doing out there during Roman Reigns vs Brock Lesnar? I've watched this clip about 12 times, and every single time I come to the same conclusion. Shawn Michaels wasn't out there to help Roman, he wasn't out there to help Brock, he was out there because he loves stirring the pot. This man saw Roman and The Rock having a family meltdown so intense it could crack the arena lights, and he thought, you know what this needs? Me. The Heartbreak Kid, the human chili flake, because that's what Shawn is now. He's the guy who walks into an already spicy situation and just dumps the whole jar in. Roman's dealing with Final Boss Rock. Brock's trying to suplex anything that moves. The tension is so thick you could butter toast with it. And Shawn Michaels wanders out like a cowboy who's lost his horse just to see what happens. And what happens? Brock Lesnar gets distracted, Roman gets an opening, and the entire match goes sideways. Shawn Michaels is basically the wrestling equivalent of that mate who sees two people arguing at a party and says, hang on, let me make this worse. He didn't need a reason. He didn't need a plan. He just wanted to poke the bear, poke the other bear, and then poke the giant Samoan bear standing next to them. And honestly, I respect. Because if you're going to stir the pot, you might as well do it on live television during a match between two of the most dangerous men on the planet. Ups for chaos, downs for logic. But that's Shawn Michaels for you. Right, let's talk about Roman Reigns' post-match promo, because that wasn't a promo, that was a declaration of war. Roman beats Brock Lesnar, which, by the way, is something you should absolutely celebrate, because Brock is basically a human bear with gym membership. And what does Roman do? Nothing. He doesn't smile, he doesn't pose, he doesn't even breathe properly. He just grabs a microphone like it owes him money and goes, Rock, I'm coming. That's not wrestling dialogue, that's the line a villain says in a movie right before he throws someone off a cliff.
Roman wasn't talking to the fans, he wasn't talking to Brock, he wasn't talking to the camera. He was talking directly to The Rock, like he was sending a voicemail from the underworld.
And the best part, he didn't mention the match once. Not a single word about beating Brock Lesnar, because Roman doesn't care. Brock was just step one. Roman's entire brain is consumed by The Rock. He's obsessed. He's furious. He's insecure. He's determined. He's basically every emotion you get when your older cousin shows up at Christmas and everyone suddenly pays more attention to him. Roman Reigns is done sharing the spotlight. He wants The Rock. He wants the moment. He wants the legacy. And that promo, that was Roman planting a flag in the ground and saying, final boss or not, I'm coming for you. This isn't a feud anymore. This is a family civil war with pyro. Right, let's talk about the real tragedy of this whole situation, because it's not Seth Rollins screaming at CM Punk. It's not Punk trying to survive Seth Rollins' surprise ninja attacks. It's Rey Mysterio, poor Rey, the United States champion, the man who should be the center of attention, and instead he's basically a background character in Seth Rollins' emotional breakdown. Because here's the thing, Seth didn't just become the #1 contender, no. He won a fatal four-way against John Cena, Gunther and CM Punk, a match that was already dripping in drama, because Seth tried to jump Punk last week during Punk's match with Stone Cold. So the whole match was basically Seth yelling at Punk, Punk glaring at Seth, Gunther trying to murder everyone, and Cena wondering why he came back. And somehow, Seth Rollins wins. He becomes the #1 contender to Rey Mysterio's United States Championship. Amazing moment. Should be all about Rey. But does Seth care? Absolutely not. Seth is far too busy shouting at CM Punk like Punk owes him rent money. Rey's going to walk into the title match like, hi Seth, remember me, the guy you're supposed to be fighting. And Seth will be halfway across the arena screaming, not now, I'm yelling at Punk. Rey Mysterio is the actual victim here. He's the champion, but his title match is the third most important thing in Seth's life. First is Punk. Second is whatever outfit he's wearing. Third, maybe, is the United States Championship. And Rey's just stuck in the middle like a dad trying to break up two teenagers fighting over a PlayStation. Ups for Rey being a hero, downs for Seth's attention span. But my word, it's entertaining. Right, let's talk about Ric Flair, because man has officially lost the plot in the most entertaining way possible. First he tries to recruit Kurt Angle. Kurt says no, and Flair reacts like someone cancelled his Netflix subscription. So what does he do? He unleashes Braun Strowman, a giant, a monster, a walking avalanche. And you think, okay, that's Flair's big move. But no. Oh no. Ric Flair looks at Braun Strowman and goes, you didn't like that? Fine. Here's another one. Enter the great Khali. Flair didn't recruit him. He spawned him. He faked an injury, pretended he couldn't wrestle, and then summoned Khali like he found a cheat code. Flair isn't building a faction. He's building the Legion of Doom. He's building the Avengers of tall people. He's collecting giants like Pokemon and using them specifically to ruin Kurt Angle's week. And poor Kurt. Kurt is getting battered every single episode because he had the audacity, the absolute nerve, to say no to Ric Flair's midlife crisis. LA Knight saved him once, bless him, but let's be honest, LA Knight is not stopping Braun Strowman and the great Khali. He can shout, yeah, all he wants, but that's not going to help when two skyscrapers are trying to squash you. So what's next for Kurt Angle? He needs backup, real backup, someone huge, someone dangerous, someone Flair won't expect, because right now Flair has an army of giants and Kurt Angle has LA Knight and Hope is not going to suplex the great Khali. Right, so let's talk about this Stone Cold and Fiend segment, because my word, the Fiend didn't just send a message. He sent a WrestleMania telegram written in blood and ladders. Stone Cold comes out, cuts this big angry promo about hurt feelings, which is already hilarious, and then decides he's not waiting for the Fiend. No. Austin goes backstage like he's hunting a burglar. He finds Bray Wyatt first and absolutely ragdolls him. Classic Stone Cold. But then Bray flips the script, powerbombs Austin onto concrete, and casually walks into an elevator like he's clocking out for lunch, and that's when everything goes off the rails. Suddenly we're in the Firefly Funhouse. Colours, puppets, chaos, and Bray's attacking Austin like a deranged children's TV presenter. Then he vanishes, just disappears, gone. Austin gets teleported, literally teleported, into a dark arena, and that's when the Fiend appears. No music, no warning, just darkness and doom. And then the Fiend absolutely destroys him. Ladders, violence, a pinfall, a celebration over Austin's broken body. This wasn't a beatdown. This was a statement carved into reality. The Fiend didn't just attack Stone Cold. He dragged him through the entire Wyatt multiverse, beat him in 3 different dimensions, and then pinned him to send one message. WrestleMania is going to be terrifying. And honestly, I can't wait. And that, my friends, was Raw Week 2 on WWE2K. The universe nobody asked for. A show so unhinged it should probably come with a warning label. We had Roman Reigns declaring war on The Rock like he's starring in the world's angriest family drama. Shawn Michaels wandering into matches like a cowboy who's lost his map, and Seth Rollins becoming #1 contender, while completely forgetting Rey Mysterio exists because he's too busy screaming at CM Punk. Ric Flair is out here building the Legion of Doom one giant at a time. Braun Strowman, great Khali, next week it'll probably be a T-Rex. And poor Kurt Angle is just trying to survive long enough to tag LA Knight in. And then Stone Cold and the Fiend. I mean, what even was that? Austin went backstage, got teleported into the funhouse, fought Bray in a cartoon dimension, and then got flattened by ladders in a dark arena. That wasn't a segment, that was a multiverse beating. So take your arms, make them go like this, because we've given out the ups, we've handed out the downs, and we've survived another episode of the most chaotic wrestling universe ever created. I've been Not Simon Miller, you've been lovely, and I'll see you next time. Assuming the Fiend doesn't drag me into the funhouse first.